The rumor is that Diddy tried to pay $10 million for a pardon, while Rudy Giuliani just got one for free. This is the expectation. The reality is a far more complex and desperate story about prison demands, secret negotiations, and a legal team that completely fell apart. The public narrative is that Diddy is using his power and money to quietly fix his legal problems from behind bars. But the receipts, which we have, show a reality that is much messier. The timeline, first reported by Rolling Stone on July 31st, 2025, shows Diddy's allies were already offering mid-six-figure sums for pardon help. But the full story is not just about Diddy. It's about who gets pardoned in America and why. So what is the truth behind the $10 million pardon rumor? How and why did Rudy Giuliani manage to get a full presidential pardon for free, while Diddy is left struggling? And what is Diddy's real legal strategy right now, from his new prison demands to the lawyers who abandoned him? We are going to answer all three of those questions. We've mapped the timelines, pulled the court filings, and analyzed the official White House statements. The playbook being used here is shocking, and it exposes the difference between two very different kinds of power. Let's start with the most stunning part of this story, the news that just broke. While Diddy sits in a federal facility, Rudy Giuliani is a free man, at least in the eyes of the federal government. On November 10th, 2025, President Trump issued a sweeping set of full, complete, and unconditional pardons for Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, Sidney Powell, and roughly 75 other allies. According to the proclamation posted by the U.S. pardon attorney, this was to end a grave national injustice related to the 2020 election. The expectation here is that Giuliani, like Diddy, must have lobbied hard, pulled every string, and begged for this outcome. The reality is the complete opposite. And that's what makes this so shocking for Diddy's case. According to a statement provided to the Associated Press on November 11th, a spokesperson for Giuliani, Ted Goodman, stated that Mayor Giuliani never sought a pardon, but is deeply grateful for President Trump's decision. Let that sink in. Rudy Giuliani, who was facing massive legal trouble, including disbarment and a $148 million defamation judgment, didn't even have to ask. The pardon was given to him. Now, we must be clear. This federal pardon is largely symbolic. A presidential pardon only applies to federal crimes. It does not erase his state-level charges like those in Georgia, nor does it wipe away the massive civil defamation judgment he owes. But the political and public relations value is immense. It's a public declaration of support from the highest office. This is the ultimate insider deal. Giuliani got his pardon for loyalty. It was a political reward for his work on the 2020 election. This is where the expectations versus reality for Diddy completely collapses. Diddy's team was allegedly floating six-figure offers, and the rumor mill inflated that to $10 million. But Diddy's problem is that his crimes are not political. He was convicted on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. He is a convicted felon in a case that is politically toxic for any president to touch. Giuliani's pardon was a political statement. Pardoning Diddy would be a political nightmare. So while Diddy's orbit was, according to reports, trying to buy influence, Giuliani was given influence for free because he was already part of the club. This contrast is the entire story. Diddy is learning the hard way that there is a difference between celebrity money and true political power. And as we're about to see, his attempts to manage this from prison are failing spectacularly. Now we get to the most shocking part of Diddy's current reality, which is timed to hit around the 3-minute mark. The expectation Diddy's team tried to sell the court was that he was a changed man, humbled by his conviction and ready for rehabilitation. The reality is that he just got caught breaking one of the most serious rules in federal prison. This is the story that unravels his entire legal and public relations strategy. Here are the facts. On October 6, 2025, Diddy's lawyers, specifically Tenny Garagas, sent a letter to the judge. We've seen this letter, reported by CTV News. In it, his team begged the judge to strongly recommend that Diddy serve his 50-month sentence at FCI Fort Dix. This is a low-security facility in New Jersey, And why? His lawyers argued it was to address drug abuse issues and maximize family visitation. To support this, Diddy himself sent a letter to the judge just before his sentencing. According to the Associated Press on October 6, Diddy claimed he had gone through a spiritual reset in jail. He wrote, "I thank God that I'm stronger, wiser, clean, clear, and sober." He claimed the old me died in jail. That was the expectation. Now the reality. On November 8, 2025, just a few days ago, the Hindustan Times reported that Sean Combs was caught by prison officials drinking homemade alcohol inside Fort Dix. The report, citing TMZ, details that Diddy was caught with a concoction made of Fanta, sugar, and apples, which inmates ferment for weeks. This is not a small infraction. According to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, making or possessing alcohol falls under the greatest severity level of prohibited acts. The available sanctions include forfeiture of Brit conduct time, meaning this one act could extend his prison sentence. This single receipt destroys his entire plea for leniency. He didn't just lie to the public, he appears to have lied directly to the judge in a federal filing. His claim of being clean, clear, and sober was a core part of his request for a low-security prison. He got that request. He was sent to Fort Dix, the very place he asked for. And one of the first things that happens, he's reportedly caught brewing prison hooch. This is an absolute disaster for his legal team and for any future appeal or request. It shows a complete contempt for the rules and fatally undermines the reformed man narrative they were trying to build. This incident proves that Diddy's reality in prison is not of spiritual renewal, but of the same rule-breaking and entitlement that defined his case. And it makes his desperate plea for a presidential pardon look even more hollow. So, let's go back to that pardon rumor. The expectation from the user's title is that Diddy offered $10 million. The reality is both more and less dramatic, and it's all about who was making the calls. Here's what we actually know based on the reporting. The $10 million figure is, for now, unconfirmed, but the effort is very real. On July 31st, 2025, Rolling Stone published an explosive report, citing 3 sources familiar with the discussions. They claimed Diddy's longtime allies had approached political operatives and lobbyists with close ties to the Trump circle. The report said the allies were allegedly offering large sums of money in exchange for help securing a presidential pardon. How much money? Not $10 million, according to that report. The sources told the magazine that at least one of the offers reached the mid-6-figure range. This is a crucial detail. It wasn't Diddy's lawyers making this official request. It was Diddy's orbit, his allies. This gives Diddy's legal team plausible deniability. They can claim they were focused on the trial, while a separate, off-the-books team of fixers was working the political angle. This is a classic PR crisis management move: create a firewall. This firewall briefly collapsed on August 5th, 2025, when Diddy's own attorney, Nicole Westmoreland, went on CNN and said, "It's my understanding that we reached out and had conversations in reference to a pardon." This was a massive public admission, but as People magazine reported on August 6, this statement caused a huge conflict behind the scenes. Multiple other sources on Diddy's team immediately disputed her claim, telling people that the legal team had not made any formal contact, but that people in Diddy's world and orbit are reaching out. This shows a team in chaos, unable to keep their story straight. The effort was real enough that Trump himself was forced to comment. And on October 7th, just a few days after Diddy was sentenced, Trump confirmed it. According to RNZ News, Trump told CNN's Caitlin Collins that a lot of people have asked me for pardons, and confirmed Sean Diddy Combs was one of them. But he immediately distanced himself. Trump noted that while he used to be friendly with Diddy, the rapper became very hostile when he ran for office, which in Trump's words, makes a pardon more difficult to do. This was the political kiss of death. Trump confirmed the ask and signaled the denial all in one breath. Diddy wasn't an ally like Giuliani. He was a hostile former friend. The payday was not coming. This chaos inside his team is the final piece of the puzzle. The expectation is that Diddy has a high-priced, elite legal team working in perfect unison. The reality is that his team has been a rolling door of chaos and has started long before the pardon drama. This brings us to the motives of his legal and PR team. The biggest red flag came on February 21st, 2025. Billboard reported that one of Diddy's lead defense attorneys, Anthony Rico, filed a motion to withdraw from the case. This was just months before the May trial. Lawyers quit cases all the time, but it was how he quit that stunned legal experts. In his filing, Rico wrote that, "Under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs, consistent with the ABA standards for criminal justice." This is not normal.
Legal analysts on forums and social media immediately pointed out this phrasing. Referencing the American Bar Association standards is what lawyers call a noisy withdrawal. It's a way for a lawyer to signal to the court, without breaking attorney-client privilege, that the client is demanding they do something unethical or perhaps even illegal. Many speculated that Diddy was either planning to commit perjury on the stand or was asking his lawyers to tamper with witnesses, and Rico refused to be a part of it. This filing was a massive public warning sign that Diddy was not a cooperative client and that his defense was already crumbling from the inside. This context makes his jail demands even clearer. The demands were not for luxury items. They were the desperate requests of a legal team that knew their client was his own worst enemy. The October 6th request for FCI Fort Dix was not about comfort. It was a strategic move to get Diddy into a facility with a residential drug treatment program. His lawyers knew his drug abuse was a central part of his conviction. They were trying to build a narrative for an appeal, a narrative that Diddy was finally getting the help he needed. This was their last-ditch PR effort. And as we now know, Diddy ruined that strategy too by allegedly getting caught with homemade alcohol. This brings us to today. The expectations versus reality is now complete. The expectation was a $10 million secret deal. The reality is a C-list attempt by his Orbit to offer six figures, which Trump publicly sniffed at. The expectation was that Giuliani had to beg for his pardon. The reality is that he was given it for free as a political thank you. And the final expectation was that Diddy is a powerful mogul managing his sentence. The reality is that he's an inmate who likely lied to a federal judge about his sobriety, got caught breaking the rules, and is now facing even more consequences. All while the White House, according to The Independent on October 22nd, is actively calling reports of a potential pardon fake news. Diddy has been left with no legal moves and no political allies. So, what have we learned? We've proven that the rumor of Diddy seeking a pardon is true. Trump himself confirmed the request, but we've also shown why it failed. Diddy is a political liability, not an ally. We've shown how Giuliani got his pardon for free. It was a political reward for loyalty. And we've uncovered Diddy's real strategy, which was to paint himself as a sober, changed man, a strategy he himself just destroyed by allegedly getting caught with prison-made booze. The insider takeaway is this: there are two playbooks for power in America. There is the celebrity playbook, which involves throwing money at fixers and lobbyists, and then there is the political playbook, which involves loyalty and insider access. Diddy's story is the perfect example of what happens when the celebrity playbook fails. He's finding out that his money and fame mean nothing in a world where political loyalty is the only currency that matters. This is not the only case where a celebrity's power has completely collapsed under legal pressure. The playbook Diddy tried to run has been used by dozens of other stars, and we've tracked them all. To see the full breakdown of how these strategies work and why they fail, click the playlist on your screen right now for more fresh celebrity tea.